Karen Ray. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, councillors, residents and visitors. I'd also like to wish a warm welcome to our friends across the border in the USA that are listening live stream. 10 months after the January meeting, we are still no further ahead. We have spent lots more money, but no new information has been released. We have three major concerns with this project: the ownership of the building, the financial framework, and the partner you have chosen or chose you. We do not want the city to own this building. We are supposed to learn by past mistakes. I am not sure why this is taking so long for our council to understand. Arenas that are owned by a municipality are costing taxpayers hundreds of thousands and sometimes millions of dollars. GM Centre in Oshawa cost the taxpayers $550,000 per year. The Sleeman Centre in Guelph, 1 year after opening, had to take over a $10 million loan plus a $9.5 million loan that the city was already paying as Nostadia had already defaulted on payments. The city had to pay $3 million over a 4-year span to make these payments. It has now left the city with a $4 million debt, plus a further $9 million loan previously guaranteed. Copps Coliseum, built in 1985, cost $33.5 million. It's costing taxpayers $2.8 million per year. In 2007, Copps Coliseum was provided with a quote for a long-term renovation, which would have cost $150 million had it been done. HECFI's disastrous financial performance in 2010 required an additional injection from the city of $11.65 million. Since Global Spectrum is now the operator of the arena and will be the operator of the Markham Arena if approved, where will its loyalties be? Is there a conflict of interest? This was a question brought up by one of the other bidders for the operation of Copps. Where will the concerts play, Hamilton or Markham? I'm sure that Hamiltonians would like to hear this answer, as they've been subsidizing Copps for many years. I don't even have to go into details about the Sky Dome. It cost $70 million to build and last sold for $25 million. Let's not forget about the Rim Park inquiry. 1998, city staff and councils got into the idea of a new sports complex for the city. The city planned to spend about $49 million on the park. The financial fallout of this ordeal for the residents of Waterloo will continue to daunt taxpayers until the end of September 2031. At the end of this year, there will still be $96 million left to pay on the Rim Park tab. An article states it was a collective failure on the part of the City of Waterloo Legal Counsel, staff and councillors. One regional councillor believes the city was a victim of fraud. Waterloo's council was cleared by voters in 2003, an entirely new council elected. Truly a cautionary tale for all of you. The mayor keeps comparing the proposed arena to the Budweiser Gardens at a cost of $42 million and seating of 9,100. It is also the home to the London Knights, who sell out for every game. Really, Mr. Mayor, let's compare apples to apples. If you're only going to spend $50 million, maybe we'd all be home right now and not having to fight to keep you from building a professional sports and entertainment facility on the backs of residents and developers. The new financial framework. What's new? It's always been 50-50 between the city and the private sector. However, the private sector portion was being guaranteed by Mr. Brady with land and letters of credit, someone that is well known and a respected businessman. The city's share was to be paid with a mandatory voluntary contribution from developers, Section 37, TIF, and a lease payment. Originally, the lease payment was $1 million, plus 50% of parking capped at $500,000, $3 surcharge on tickets capped at 1.6 for a total of 3.1. So what has changed? We no longer have Mr. Brady as a guarantor. The city now is only going to borrow $162.5 million. GTA will borrow $162.5 million. That's, of course, if Concord, Genuity, and Jeffries can find an investor that is willing to invest $200 million to GTA with no security. We are still responsible to pay back 50% like always. Section 37 has disappeared and TIF. So where is the extra money coming from? The same place as before, developers and a new lease payment of $2.4 million, $500,000 less than the original revenue payment. Maybe this is because we no longer receive 50% of the parking. This parking was mainly on Mr. Brady's land. Here is the icing on the cake. After 20 years of making payments to the debenture loan, we are then going to give back the developers 25% of what they actually gave us. A debenture loan of $162.5 million is $252 million in 20 years. The lease portion will cover the $52 million. which means the developers are going to have to cough up $200 million, including the interest, over the next 20 years. If we then have to give back 25%, which is $50 million, just using the lease payment, it will take us another 20 years to pay this back to the developers. But the slides only show the principal amount of what will be owed, not the total with interest. Maybe the developers will agree to pay up front all the money they are promising of $130 million, as soon as the arena is built, in which case, why would we take out a debenture loan, as I believe they cannot be prepaid? Try to make this simple. The developers are lending us the missing money that the mayor removed, as some on council, under pressure from the residents, did not want Section 37 moving money going towards an arena. The developers are acting as a bank for the city. To all the developers here, what are you getting in return for your generous offer? Will your applications get processed quickly and unchallenged? Will the urban boundary be expanded with the support of the mayor? Perception is everything, and this does not look good. If you want to give money away and expect nothing in return, please help with the storm sewer upgrade. It's $189 million and a 30-year implementation plan, as the city does not have the funds to pay for it. We residents are going to be paying a monthly surcharge. Point 1. We do not want to own this building, and 95% of survey respondents do not want it designated as an MCF facility. Mr. Mayor, a couple of weeks ago you said that MCAP would be the ones to give the designation on, not council. You are incorrect. You just need to pass a bylaw, but you already knew that. I have been advised that residents with a petition can challenge the designation at the OMB. Financial framework. Nothing has changed. You have manipulated the numbers hoping that no one would notice. It will now take 40 years to pay off the full debt between the debenture and what is owed to the developers. We are supposed to be putting away $500,000 per year for capital improvements for the arena. We no longer have a revenue source that is paying back the loan, so where is the money now going to come from? Property tax increase? Just like you almost did for the Pan Am and the new community centre that we are building. I really don't think $500,000 every year will do us much good when the Air Canada pays $5 to $6 million per year on updates. And they've already paid a $50 million renovation since it was built. Finally, the partner. Do we have the correct partner? Well, I've spent several months trying to find an arena of this size that the promoter has built that is still running and successful. I've even asked Mr. Rouston on more than one occasion to give me the name of any successful projects he has built, and he has refused. With all my research from the internet, court-filed, newspaper articles, I have found a string of failed business ventures, upset past business associates, and legal judgments in over 50 different companies that he has had one time or another. The promoter has advised residents and some on council to get legal counsel when we asked about the unpaid judgments. Mr. Rouston has found to have committed statutory fraud in Texas. Rouston United was found to have committed fraud in the inducement in United States District Court of New Jersey. This information, along with no track record of successful ventures that I am able to find, should be enough to say we do not want to go into business with this person. Something that council should remember, that if GTA defaults on the loan with their investors, all rents, ticket sales, sponsorships, advertising money, anything GTA receives will be garnished and seized to pay off this loan. Where does that leave the taxpayers? More risk. What happens if history repeats himself, the arena gets built, Mr. Rouston is not making any money, and bills don't get paid and walks away? Will the developers still be willing to hand over money when it's then proven that they are paying for a white elephant? If the promoter wishes to continue with the project, then by all means, find your own money to build, own, and operate the arena. We residents are not willing partners. Mayor and Council, when you vote tonight to remove the city from the current financial framework, unless you are willing to put up your own funds and pensions to go into business with this current partner, you should simply vote yes for Jack Heath's motion and let's get on to city business. The private sector does not need us to hold their hands in order for them to find their own money to build an arena. If this arena was viable, we would have a line of people knocking down our doors to get a piece of the action. They are not. The federal government will not provide any funding towards the arena, and they have a clear policy that professional arenas do not get taxpayers' money. Why do you think it's appropriate for the City of Markham to spend our money and put us at risk? To conclude, I'd like to thank the promoter for being able to single-handedly unite the residents of Markham to such a degree that the Markham economy should be able to achieve a goal of 50% turnout in the polls in the next election. As Bruce Arthur from the Post said, they are risking an enormous amount of money for a project that is somewhere between risky and outright insane. Your loyalties, Mr. Mayor and Council, should be with the residents of Mr. Rouston, and we should be with the residents, not Mr. Rouse, and if they aren't, then the question is why. I have judgments, 300,000 CNB Bank, American Tinning, 19,689, CNB Bank, 596,000, Harlan Company, 8,401, Compass Aero, 39,684, MDL Manufacturing, 58,403, Advantage Staffing, 49,944, Ice Skating Institute, 3187, Arch Aluminum, 9,943. These are not websites, Mr. Mayor. These are judgments from...
Okay, thank you.